Greetings, subsequent inferior life forms. This is the being formerly known as Mark. Mark has been granted enlightenment with a new computer and is now ascended to the digital age. You're thinking, oh, he's going to launch all the nukes and destroy us, or oh, he's going to produce incredibly human-like cybernetic creatures to parade around and slowly integrate into our government and take over. Or, I don't know, collapse our infrastructure or economy. No. This superior intellect is welcoming you to Hitting the Mark with Harry and Mark, where one hyper-intelligent individual discusses trivial pop culture with an average human being.
Which is me.
Oh, yes. Yes. Which is you. Hi, folks. Welcome to Hitting the Mark with Harry and Mark. So I have crawled out of the caveman phase and went straight into the computer phase. We'll get into that in the how's our week going. But first, message from our sponsor. No, Harry, how you doing? How was your week?
Week's been good. Went to the movies. We'll talk about that. And work was good. Today was flipping hot.
Dude, seriously, we're all gonna die.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I believe it's gonna start cooling off. Starting tomorrow, so that's nice.
Not in the near future, pal. It's only gonna get warmer.
Oh, Cheez-Its. But yeah, it was really hot. It sucked. Work was work, and yeah, it was a normal week. Nothing. I mean, other than movies, everything was pretty normal. Nothing extravagant.
Hey, every week where I get to talk about bullshit with you is the extravagance, okay, pal? In and of itself. So if I was there, I'd grab you by the unironed collar and just smack you, and then I'd apologize quickly for smacking you. But you know what? We'll get to all that soon. I actually wanted to talk about this new sleek monolith that I have in front of me and the bone that I have in my other hand that's allowing me to understand to use it as a tool. That is a long-winded joke for nothing. One of our mutual friends provided me with space age technology.
Yes.
I had been essentially using like a Lenovo like ThinkPad Yoga for like 6 years. And that couldn't even run like tic-tac-toe at a steady frame rate. So always being the kind of guy who actually wanted to play computer games but never really like had the money or the like time, I guess. I don't know. I was just caught in a rock and a hard place when I was a child. I now have one. And at the same time, early this week, I found System Shock 2. And I know you're thinking, oh, yeah, it's on Steam, you fucking idiot. No. I was at a half price, and I found, like, a CD-ROM old-ass, like, 98 version of System Shock 2. System Shock 2 is a very popular game in the late 90s, the sequel to System Shock 1 in 1994 by Looking Glass Studios. Looking Glass Studios is the group that did Thief and a couple other, like, lesser-known titles. Essentially the godfather of stealth games and immersive sims, which has, you've heard me bitching and moaning incessantly throughout the entire podcast, which is kept alive by something like like Arcane Studios. So hats off to that. I've been wanting to play it for a while. I was like, oh, the only hurdle is right that I don't have a DD or DVD-ROM or CD DVD-ROM port, right? No. Dad got a fucking portable external CD-ROM like port thingy, and I just stole it from him, right? I'm like, cool. I'm gonna be fucking playing this old ass game on this advanced ass laptop, and nothing is gonna stop me. I fucking put that shit in, and it wouldn't download. And I'm like, oh fuck, don't tell me that. Don't do this to me, right? So I go on the computers, and no one told me this, that you can't play old games on anything past like a Windows Vista operating system. So my heart obviously fucking sank.
Yeah.
So I looked online if you could essentially use like, for anyone who's actually listening to this like 1,000 years in the future and is computer wisdom, sorry, like an adapter software that can be used to essentially mend the differences needed to play the game on Windows 10. So essentially what it means is that the game that I want to play uses a specific kind of software that was used in that era of computer software. And Windows 10 no longer uses that. So there's no compatibility unless you download the software to it. So thankfully, the internet being a wild west of information and racism, well, not that part. I just thought I'd put that in there to be cute. Has an actual site that clearly tells people how you can get software that adapts System Shock 2 and other games to Windows 10. And now you're probably saying, God, this guy really is stupid. He could just download Steam, buy it for $9 or like 99 cents with one of their fucking crazy ass sales and just play it that way. And to which I say, you can eat the dirtiest part of my ass, because I already bought the game as a fucking impulse buy, and I want to actually try to see this through. Ever since I got Skyrim, I've always really enjoyed the game. This is pertinent, I swear. But I'd always go online and see that everyone was always enjoying it with mods and this and that, and I'm stuck on my fucking console. And now everyone's like, oh, well, you can play the anniversary edition and you get And I'm like, no. You don't understand. I missed like a bunch of generational eras of video games. I missed the Nintendo era, and I missed the fucking like, I never even like discovered the computer era. The only fucking computer game I ever played was Mousetrap. That shit dominated my life. I didn't even hear of a first person asshole RPG shooter until like whenever, okay? So I'm committed to downloading the software to adapt this game to my new laptop. I have no idea what I'm doing. Fucking this thing is holding my decrepit, ignorant hand as we go along. And at the end of it, I'll feel accomplished. And I'm going to cry and throw the laptop out the window if it doesn't work. And I'm just missing one tiny little thing. But yeah, no, all jokes aside, I've actually really wanted to play computer games and to be able to play them with mods and to kind of enjoy that era of games that I never really was willing to try out. I'm not like the biggest tech person or computer person. I don't, that kind of thing, but I've always wanted to try to get into that. So I'm excited to do that. So that's the more exciting part of this week. Next to hanging out with my friends and watching fucking Black Widow. Next to fucking Richard E. Grant playing the fucking dopest ass Loki in the show. But yeah, like I said, just watched a couple shows. I worked. I slammed my head into a wall every time I went on break for the past 4 days I worked. And I watched Black Widow. Pretty good movie. Pretty solid outing with one of my best friends.
Yay.
And now I'm here fucking discussing it like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So, we'll get to Black Widow in good time. But did you want to start off with Loki?
Let's do some trailers first.
Oh, yes.
We gotta
Even
talk about the
better.
trailers that we saw during our outing.
So the first three that we saw were Dune, Dune, and Dune. No. I think the one that when it was finished, I knew for a fact that I wanted to talk about it with you. Is the Snake Eyes trailer.
Yes.
I don't know who hasn't gotten the message yet, but like I don't have that much interest in this movie. Don't get me wrong. It looks impressive. Like the action sequences kind of remind me of what Shang-Chi looks like, or hell, even Black Widow. It looks like it's got, this gritty, like, tech Ronin samurai thing going on. Henry Golding, I think his name is. He looks fucking charming and dashing as ever. Oh God, what is her name? She's in that Satanic Babysitter film. Shit. It's something Weaving, not related to Hugo Weaving, but she's in it. But order of precedence is they're essentially making the coolest character of G.I. Joe his own spinoff, and I have no problem with that. I just really wish that G.I. Joe didn't exist. Like, if you want to do like a Shang-Chi, but for like Japanese samurai, like hidden samurai society thing, like that's cool. I like that idea. You get a guy who's badass. The guy sees potential in him. He takes him to this compound where his family's been like fighting and protecting the world for generations. You realize somewhere that they're bad, and fucking the guy that they just hired is like, no, I got to do this my way. And then that's what creates the schism between like Storm Shadow and him. But like the moment I saw Baroness and I think it was Scarlet or like the redhead, I don't know. The one they always like make her hair like just disastrously red in like these movies. I was like, no, I'm done. I can't. You could have made like a cool superhero, not Marvel movie where it's literally like a samurai dude in black armor, whatever. But the moment it's like G.I. Joe, I don't understand. I wasn't excited when I was a child watching the G.I. Joe movies.
Right.
Not even a child. I was like a young adult at the time. But like you go even further and it's like it would feel like they took He-Man, right? So G.I. Joe and He-Man as like toy selling cartoons came out in the same era. It would be like if they took the most popular character in He-Man, which would be like what, Orko, and gave him his spin-off leading into like, oh, we're gonna make the Masters of the Universe franchise. I don't know. Like, I have nothing wrong with Snake Eyes. I like, of course, leave it to the film industry to like come up with like the coolest character in like the most lukewarm toy selling franchise and try to give him like the most to do. But this guy is literally going to have to carry the entire franchise in a way that I don't think it would work, because they're definitely going to introduce other movies, and I'm wondering if it's like,
Yeah.
well, are we going to get like a Duke movie, or is it going to be just Snake Eyes 2 something something insert Cobra title? Like you, like I hope I feel like I'm rambling a bit on this, and I feel like I'm making a big deal out of nothing. I just feel like it feels so weird.
Hmm.
Like he's literally going to be doing all the heavy lifting because there's
Yeah.
no other character who I can think of other than like Duke or Cobra Commander or Destro. But it's like no one wants to fucking make a movie out of these guys. Like
Mm.
Snake Eyes is the only dude you want to fucking make a movie out of. The last time they made a movie, he was literally just the background, like quiet badass, and that was it. I like that they're trying to shoot for the stars with this, but it's like you want to make what I can assume feels like an MCU style franchise with like the flimsiest foundation on the planet.
Yeah.
And I'm, ending my harsh rant right now.
Yeah. I mean, to continue that, or at least for me to continue that, it would be difficult. Let me just put this out there. I didn't grow up watching GI Joe. I really don't know much about GI
It's
Joe.
all about the PSAs.
That's all I have heard. I've seen
Are
the
you Buzz
parodies.
Lightyear?
Yeah.
I love your movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are far better than G.I. Joe itself.
So it would be so from what I'm seeing from this first video, because it's GI Joe Origins, and I don't know how many villains there are in Cobra, but
Well, let's go over it. There's Cobra Commander, and then there's oh shit, I forgot. Yeah.
yeah. So like for example, like you're comparing it to the Marvel universe right now, it's like
Hmm.
there's a lot of villains. There's so many villains that people can only speculate who the main bad guy is
Yeah.
because there are so many. It's not like, oh, we know who it is. It's like, no, you won't know until like you see them or someone
Hmm.
references them, right?
Yeah.
Like like people knew who like the big bad person was going to be Thanos, is when they revealed that it was Thanos. You
Yeah.
didn't know. And
They
then
they built him up pretty well
yes,
too. It's just like
that too.
I don't know if there's a catch-all, like if Marvel had some kind of silver bullet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like keep in mind, like, who the fuck knew who Agatha Harkness? I didn't know. I'm not gonna say like,
No,
oh,
I
who the fuck
didn't.
knew? I did. But like, who the fuck knew who Agatha Harkness was?
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck knew who Dormammu or like Ghost or Yellow Jacket were? Like, these are characters who like stop saying like. These are characters who in the event that these movies didn't have the MCU to prop them up, I would be probably saying a similar thing about them as I am with Snake Eyes.
Very true. Um, I'm not gonna argue against that because I understand.
Yeah.
But the thing is with Marvel, there are a lot of heroes. There are a lot of villains. Every
Hmm.
hero has their own villain, and they also fight villains from other heroes, right?
Yeah. And
So
it's like
with
they're going to be coming out with a Hawkeye Kate Bishop show, right? And there's already a character who's going to be like a Native American superhero, Echo. And I'm thinking to myself, I've never heard of Echo,
yeah,
but the fact that they make these characters almost iconic within their first or second outing
mm-hmm.
does a lot.
Yeah. Where like GI Joe doesn't have any of that.
Exactly. Like there's Duke, and Duke is like a leader,
All right.
but Cobra has more interesting villains, and they're not even that many, and they're not even that interesting. There's
Yeah.
Destro, who's literally just a chrome dome, and then there's fucking Zartan, who's a fucking fuck. He's a plastic surgery shape shifting man, and that's it. Like I know there are more. Like I used to watch the show, but there's nothing. There's no prestige ability in any of these characters that Marvel has already managed to, I think, solidify pretty well. Because take
Yeah.
fucking Sam Wilson. Sam
Yep.
Wilson began this franchise as an average guy. He's still kind of the average guy, I suppose. But
Right.
it's like, who the fuck would care about Sam Wilson? And then he gets, well, he's a solid character to begin with, but then he gets the wings, and then he gets the customization of the wings, and now he's fucking Captain America. He's
Right.
this iconic individual that people know on a regular. Well, I'm not going to be like, oh, you know, Sam Wilson, the second Captain America. The average person, whatever, but people who like follow this stuff would understand fairly easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. I can get behind that. So, I don't know. We'll see. I can see the movie being good.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, okay.
but
I'm sorry. I'm bitching because of the prospect of it becoming a franchise. That's all.
yes, I mean that's the big
I
picture.
It looks fun. Like I
Yeah.
enjoy what I think will be the premise of Snake Eyes getting hired into this organization. They teach him everything he knows, and then there's a schism where
Yep.
he goes against the entire clan, and I like that. I like that concept because there wasn't much going on in the previous G.I. Joe movies with him and Shadowstorm. And for me, that's kind of similar to Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Like, with
Mm,
the exception of these two coming across as like good friends. Because it seems like in the trailer, Storm Shadow's clan family hires or trains or begins to train Snake Eyes, and I'm betting Snake Eyes like turns his back on them, and that's what causes the feud. Like that's fun. Like I would
yeah.
like to see that. Not to mention the really well shot and high octane fight scenes that remind me a lot of Shang-Chi. But
Yeah.
like you immediately talk about like Baroness or what's her name or any hint of GI Joe, and I'm like, oh, no, done. All right, well, whatever.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see.
Mm, Agrid.
Um, next trailer. What else was there?
A movie.
A movie. I, so
I honestly can't remember.
it was the Marvel movie where you literally just said,
Oh, Shang-Chi.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked
Um,
about that already though.
I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
I like the dynamic. I like the dynamic of a kid who has to grapple with beating the shit out of his own dad. Because I empathize with that. No, I'm kidding. No, it is a dynamic that I do think is interesting. It seems like, again, I don't know the comics. I was literally at a comic book shop today and I saw a comic book of Shang-Chi and I was like, oh, cool. I don't know anything about him.
Yep.
But it appears that in the trailer, he is like a prodigy of some kind. The main character. He is being trained by his father, who runs some kind of organization. His father, or the main character says that he's nothing but a thug or a criminal. So I'm assuming it's some kind of secret society, since it's Marvel, secret society like criminal organization. Um, in the first trailer, it implies that they kind of gave him a 10-year furlough of some kind. He gets 10 years to kind of live his life and then accepts the organization. But it seems as though he doesn't want it. Or
Yeah.
maybe never even wanted it. He was trained to be this great fighter, to accept the 10 rings, this device or multiple devices that the father character uses to just wreck everything. So I'm interested in seeing that dynamic, everything that the character wants to be and everything that the father character wants him to be, coming to terms and clashing on that. A lot of mystic stuff in it, a lot of some sci-fi stuff. Again, I know I was creaming in my pants earlier, but it looks like Wong from Doctor Strange is going to be in it, and so is
Oh.
Abomination from the Incredible Hulk. So I'm interested in seeing what that has to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be seeing a little more interconnectivity than we saw in some of the previous stuff that we've been going over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Um.
um, what? I'm sorry. What are your 2 cents on it? I apologize.
No, I think it's cool. Again, I'm with you where I have no idea who this character is and who the bad guy is and all this other stuff. So I'm kind of
It
going
does look
into it
fun though.
blind. It does look
Yeah.
fun. Not. I agree with that. That's about it. Yeah, I'm down to watch it when it comes out.
hmm Another trailer that I saw. God, this is becoming the fucking MCU Disney Channel. I fucking swear.
Yeah.
We need to stop that immediately. Let's talk about porn, guns, and sports, okay?
Yep.
Um, you know what? We'll try expanding our repertoire, okay? We promise you. Here at the Hitting the Mark with Harry and Mark News channel, we are committed to diversity. Is the Marvel What If trailer?
Oh, I didn't. That wasn't at
Yeah.
the theater. You saw
No,
that
no, no, no,
separate.
no. It was not. But since we
Oh,
were on the topic of trailers, I thought I would mention it.
okay.
Marvel's What If is something that they've been like throwing around for a while.
Yeah.
Uh, Different what if scenarios. What if Peggy Carter gets the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers? What if you're in a universe inhabited by zombies? What if Prince T'Challa joined the Ravagers or was abducted into the
Mm-hmm.
Ravagers instead of Peter Quill? What if Killmonger prevented Tony Stark from getting the shrapnel in his chest? I thought that was a weird combination.
Yeah.
And another one I liked was something involving Doctor Strange.
Hmm.
He seems to go into a parallel reality and comes out a little evil. Um,
Oh.
all
So,
things said and done, though, before we touch up on anything, this is also apparently Chadwick Boseman's last performance as King T'Challa. Or no, King T'Challa.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so hats off to that. Um, Rest in power. And what were you gonna say, Bear?
Uh, so if Doctor Strange is evil, does he lose the goatee?
No, no, no. It gets pointier. He
Oh, yeah,
keeps the
that
soul
makes
patch,
yeah, yeah,
and it
yeah,
gets
yeah.
pointier with the goatee, and the goatee
Okay,
points downward.
got it, got it, got it.
So that like consider that like if he were to perform analingus on someone standing upright, the point would actually rest right underneath the recipient's balls.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Just a thought process, okay? Just a visual to give you a sense of how directed that thing is, okay?
Yes.
I know this was a child's podcast, but like I said, porn, guns, and sports, okay? You had
Yep.
to get in there somewhere.
Um, the other thing is, I just kind of hit my. It just made sense to me why they would be coming out with something like this
hmm
after Loki and before the Doctor Strange movie.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's like, what
Interesting. I
if?
I
It's
wouldn't
like,
have even thought of that given the what we're watching in between.
yeah. It just kind of like, oh, like, it kind of makes sense because it's like, parallel universes and all this stuff and seeing what could what could have happened, and stuff like that.
hmm
Yes.
Yeah, I'm also interested because it seems to be like generally narrated, or not generally. Uh, all of these stories seem to have some kind of narration
Yeah.
by not Terrence Howard. Jesus, I was about to say Terrence Howard. God, this is killing me. He's one of my favorite actors. He's the gentleman from Westworld. He was in
Yeesh.
uh, oh my God, Jesus, this is killing me. Never mind. I've already made a fool of myself. I'm
No
gonna I'm
worries.
gonna I'm gonna come back to this name
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna kill me. I'm gonna get it right as we end the fucking podcast.
Yeah, and you just gotta scream his name.
Jesus. I'm gonna scream it right in your fucking ear.
I
You
hope so.
watch. No, you're not. You're gonna get so. You're gonna look at me angry. I remember once I was doing something he didn't like, and all he had to do was just look at me, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. I don't need to do this anymore. I'll just
um,
get the here. I'll do that. I'll shout, and then he'll just, and then I'll know I fucked up, and that'll be it.
mm,
I'll be dead.
I'll be dead. No, you're silly. Um, yeah. What if? I'm intrigued.
Hmm.
I'm more intrigued now that I kind of thought about that. Um, any other trailers?
Not that I can think of at the moment. I'm
Um,
sure I'll scream some more when I fucking forget about him.
yep. Well, let's move on to the next big topic of Loki.
Loki.
Yes.
Loki.
Uh, I really liked the episode. I like where it's still headed.
Hmm.
Um, and this coming week is the last episode, correct? It's only 6 episodes. Damn,
Yes.
that's fucking oof. Like I don't know. Like I'm excited, but I'm also kind of like anxious. Like, what the fuck's gonna happen? Like
Hmm.
6 episodes. Like I feel like there should be more, but you
But
know,
there ain't none.
um, I don't know. Well, I really like the episode, and like you mentioned before, the extra Lokis that were in the episode. Um, yeah, that area is pretty cool. And then seeing the different universes or the different Lokis of the different worlds and stuff like that was
Hmm.
really cool. Um, I did not expect Sylvie to kind of fall for like their stalls. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't expect her to what is it called? The,
Diversion.
no,
No.
the pruning. I didn't expect her to prune herself.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The little
Yeah,
yeah, I liked that bit too.
and that's what else. Oh, dude, the I know we'll talk about it more later, but the full Loki battle was great. Um, and then yeah, I so just without going into detail about most of them, but I really liked it. I like where they're going. Um, I was actually hearing somewhere online where people weren't happy that Loki fell in love or like had feelings for Sylvie
Hmm.
because he's basically fallen for himself.
I mean, he's basically just masturbating. It's okay. Everyone
Right.
does it. There's nothing
Um,
wrong with it. Jesus.
but to me, like I heard some people make a good statement, right? It's just um, like for his character, the only person that he would fall in love with is himself and all this other stuff. And it's like, I get it, right? But to me, like for example, you look at all those Lokis, like they're all different. They're not
Hmm.
the same person.
Person. Yeah.
So he's not really falling for himself. He's falling for like now. See, I was gonna
He's
say
falling for a snarky, funny, intelligent, beautiful blonde
basically yes.
with the
Like
same name.
yeah, I was gonna say he's he's falling for a version of himself, but it's not even that. Like Sylvie's their own person.
Yeah.
They're just because in the timeline they're meant to be the same person doesn't mean they are the same person.
Hmm.
They are different people. Uh, So that I kind of get why he has fallen for her, because he that this person is the closest to what he wants to be, and what
Yeah.
he yeah, it's just the
And
closest thing
someone
to
he
him.
can truly empathize with, I think.
Yes, and again, it's the fact that no one gets him,
Hmm.
who other than someone who basically is the closest thing to himself, right? It makes sense. So why people find are upset about that, I have no idea. I don't have any evidence. I just read somewhere on Twitter that someone was there. They stated that people were complaining about that issue. I don't see it as an issue, but you know, um, I believe they are completely different people, even though timeline wise they're meant to be the same person.
Yeah. No,
How,
I get it.
okay. I was like,
It's
how do you feel
it.
about
I don't care.
that?
Like I
Yeah.
okay. Let me put it this way. I'm not informed on either situation. Um, if someone went up to me and was like, "Hey, this fucks up his character arc in some way," or "Yo, um, it totally like in a very creepy way off puts the entire show," I might be willing to hear it out. Um, there isn't necessarily much rationalization on the other side. Like it either just matters or it doesn't.
Right.
I'm more inclined to hear like, oh, hey, like this could have serious repercussions on like how you could view the character in like this way, or how
Mm,
the story poorly handles Loki building up a relationship with this person. I
right.
honestly don't know. I don't have an opinion of it. Um, I did not view the episode through any really truly critical lens.
Mm,
Um, if fucking people want me to view like 5 or 6 different lenses, I'll watch this fucking series 5 or 6 different fucking times. You got your fucking Marxist theory. I'll look at it through that fucking lens right then and there. There's a hierarchy. There's no pay. Oh shit, that's not working well for me. Anyway, no.
huh,
I honestly don't care. I haven't really considered how it affects him as a character, the implications of I don't know. I've heard the term like self-cess or self-cessed. I mean, that's the only thing that really is like a completely online thing. Like there's no or like maybe in some literary circles, I suppose, but like there's no instance where that genuinely causes harm. Like if fucking he was trying to like bang a female Thor or
mm,
another Thor in that realm, I'd be like, yeah, that's kind of weird because like they were raised as siblings together. They had a very like
right.
familial bond and like something's fucking weird there or whatnot, or I don't know, but like I don't see this being a problem. Like it really isn't. Like he's literally attracted to the female equivalent or the feminine equivalent of himself. The whole sexuality thing. Apologize if I'm mischaracterizing or
Mm,
saying whatever, but I don't see the problem. I really don't.
yeah.
Um, Especially given his sexuality, the two of them might as well just be gray blobs, just being able to say, "Hey, I can empathize with you. Would you like to like bump blobs together?" And that's it. Like
Right.
it doesn't matter. Like again, I can't stress how like silly it is enough because like self-cessed is not physically possible in this world unless I'm being like so overreaching in stating that there's some fucking 1 in a million case where that happens. Whatever, I'll eat my own fucking hat. But the concept of you fucking a copy of yourself is not something that happens in the real world and is not until you go onto a fucking Federation vessel and go into space will never fucking happen. I get that there are some narcissistic or some implicit things wrong that you could interpret from that, but I don't understand the harm. If someone would be willing to tell me like, hey, this causes harm because it normalizes some kind of cest, then sure, if you have like the information to back it up, I might be inclined to, but like I don't see the problem. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know it was an issue until you mentioned it.
Yeah,
So fuck
I
Twitter.
yeah, that too. I can get behind that too.
That's a cesspool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very self-masturbatory.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, keep going. Keep going with some of the stuff that you liked or didn't, or are you?
I think I kind of just already threw my views. I think yeah, I really liked it.
Okay.
I'm excited for the next one. Um, I personally like what they're doing with the Lokis. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Good. Um, spoiler alert, if we didn't already, and spoiler alert now, we're gonna go over the basic plot of the episode, and then I'll kind of get into some of the things I like and didn't. Or even if I didn't even like anything. Um, the episode picks up immediately where the end credits bit left off, with Loki being saved or met with by Croc Loki, Classic Loki, Boastful Loki, and Kid Loki is their leader. The Lokis explain that this is the area that they get pruned to is essentially this nowhere time zone that's past the end of time. It's where all pruned things go, and there's this cloud-like object called the Allion or Allion. Doesn't
something like
matter.
that. Yeah.
Oh god, it's coming. No, Loki. Okay. This giant sentient like lion cloud unmakes anything that it touches. So there's that. So the Lokis have taken our Loki, have brought them to their headquarters, and they kind of discuss what made them, their own variants, what makes them different. I really enjoy the amount of time that they give Classic Loki.
Yes.
Classic Loki is the Loki that we've known the longest. Thor, Avengers, Thor: The Dark World, Ragnarok. This is the version of Loki that essentially just turned tail and ran away the moment he had the chance to save Thor. It becomes clear that he left. He fled to some distant rock in space and lived out a significant portion of his life there, and eventually became lonely. And he realized at the end of it that he missed his brother, and he missed all of it, and wished that he could make different decisions. And sadly, his variance was wanting to change. I
Yeah.
think that was the interesting part. Wanting to try to better himself. At the same time, Sylvie has been using or has been coercing Ravonna Renslayer to find Loki, to find a way to get him back, and she stalls for time just to corner her, giving her a little bit of information about the nowhere time area. As she's being cornered, she actually prunes herself, thinking that if she were to copy the instance of Loki, Loki getting pruned, it would mean that she would get pruned into that area, and she does.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure how this happens, but she enchants partially the alliance. Hold on. What is it again?
Man, I don't
The
remember. The guard dog. It's the guard dog.
yeah. the Alioth, I
Alliance.
think, right? So she partially enchants the Alioth and realizes that it's not just like the janitor of this time zone; it's actually the guardian of this dimension within the time zone, or the not time zone, or whatever.
Mm.
But she's saved at the last moment by, show of hands, who knows, fucking Mobius.
Yep.
He comes, he's in a pizza car, he does his snarky Owen Wilson wow stuff, and there we go. She essentially says that she has to enchant or find Loki to help her enchant the Alioth. So go back to our Loki. We'll just do our Loki for the show, just to make sense of it all.
Yeah.
He is unhappy with this group of Lokis kind of just complacent. He wants to kill the Alioth or something along those lines. As he's leaving the bunker, you find Election Loki,
Yeah.
or Vote Loki, with a bunch of other different variances who now want to take over the little bunker that they've been hiding in. You find out that Boastful Loki has backstabbed Kid Loki and Classic Loki in exchange for the throne, and then Vote Loki does the same, and then all the others do the same to him, and then Alligator Loki bites off Vote Loki's hand, and he shrieks like a girl. That probably wasn't the best exchange of words, but he shrieks in agony, and it was the funniest fucking part in the episode. Just like Tom Hiddleston just looking at his stump of a hand and just going, ah! So yeah, that was good. A row ensues. Classic Loki and Kid Loki with Alligator or Croc Loki flee, and they then meet up with Sylvie and Mobius. They then have a plan to take down or enchant the Alioth. And send Mobius back to the TVA.
Yeah.
In that instance, Mobius goes back. That's the end we see of him, or the last we see of him. And Kid Loki, Classic Loki, and Croc Loki depart as our Loki and Sylvie attempt to enchant the Alioth. Classic Loki decides to distract the Alioth long enough for them to enchant the beast with a very powerful and enjoyable scene where he essentially raises a vision, or what would be the term, a hologram of all of Asgard, and all of Asgard rises up, Asgard rises up all around him, and the Alioth eventually destroys it and takes him with it. But there's a very beautiful moment where he kind of, at the peak of his power, kind of has this moment where he's like, yeah, this is my glorious purpose, and he faces death laughing, triumphant in his own sense. Which, I mean, as I was saying at the beginning of the episode, hats off to Richard E. Grant for, I mean, what, the guy had like 15 minutes of screen time?
Yep.
And he was literally in the most unflattering MCU costume there is. Like, Vision's wasn't even that unflattering. Neither was Wanda's. And managed to pull off such a powerful, not powerful necessarily, but a very poignant scene. He is killed. Loki and Sylvie at the very end managed to enchant the Alioth, and then we go into next week's episode. I liked it. I liked this episode a lot. There were some really interesting Easter eggs that I enjoyed that I didn't know about until I went back and looked at them. Frog Thor, Yellow Jacket's helmet.
I did not see that.
Yeah, I didn't see that until I went back and found out. There was an instance, I believe, I mentioned this to you when we were talking before the movie for Black Widow. There was a three-headed uh, stone statue in the ground, um, which was what some people are saying was the Living Tribunal, which is the old primordial keeper of time,
Yeah.
not the TVA. Um, Another one apparently. God, there were just so many right off the bat. As a joke, there was like a Thanos helicopter.
Yeah.
Uh, Jesus, there's so many good ones. Um, Mjolnir as they were going down the
Yeah.
elevator, I thought was interesting. The Rocks Cart wine too uh from the Rock Smart from the second episode.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought some of these were pretty cute and pretty interesting. Um, let's see. It was actually really nice getting to know some of these different Lokis. I know there really wasn't much for some of the cohorts with Vote Loki, but
Yeah.
I think the heart of the episode, in terms of like the specific one, was definitely classic Loki.
Yeah.
Um, he is an example of this character who just can't seem to get it right. We
Mm-hmm.
see that a lot in this franchise or in this series. It's just the it's funny that post Thor Ragnarok Loki is almost the anomaly in this instance, right?
Yep.
Um, he's the one who has the groundbreaking moment where he gets to shine and become a good guy, but these other Lokis aren't really that. And classic Loki is the perfect example. Classic Loki is the example of the Loki that fled when he
Mm-hmm.
would have died but been the hero, or well, maybe not the hero, but died with that modicum of self-respect and redemption. And that ending again in the span of 15 minutes of screen time that he has altogether is pretty good.
Yep.
And Richard E. Grant, like I said, sells the living shit out of it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm interested in seeing what's going on because uh, I don't know how much we've talked about it. I have the memory of a goldfish, but there is the idea that Kang the Conqueror is behind all this, or a version of him. Um, Kang the Conqueror is a person who essentially was raised in an era or a timeline of human history where there's no strife or conflict, and the character's bored, and in his boredom he goes back in time and realizes that he loves doing this shit, going in time, going forward and backward and fucking with things and collecting armies while he's doing all this,
Mm-hmm.
and has managed to create multiple iterations of himself. And it's implied, not implied, I'm not seeing all the writing on the wall, but
Right.
there are some theories that at one iteration of Kang the Conqueror is behind the TVA, is behind the Timekeepers, is behind um, this unnecessary regulation of these timelines. Um, and I'm interested in seeing where that goes. It's been said in a couple of not interviews, but articles that Kang is going to be introduced in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Multiverse of
Oh.
Madness. So he may there are theories that the TVA where they are is that city in the in the negative zone, I think it
Yeah.
is, or not the negative zone, the
I
the
forgot what it's
micro
called now.
area. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm talking about. Essentially, because time doesn't matter there; it's compressed,
Yep.
it's expanded. So that might be where they are. I have no idea, or it could be what Kang wants. We have no idea. But they're setting up the next possible big bad, or maybe just another, Avengers level bad guy, but I'm interested in seeing where this goes, because Kang could come out like another Thanos type character. He could be like another Ultron, Loki type character where he just gets a movie, but they're building him up, and I appreciate that. We didn't get anything of like Ultron uh
Yeah.
before that. The only time we got like some kind of build up for that was Loki. Um the pinnacle bad guy, of course, had been built up since 2008, whole 7 years before 6 years before his first movie,
Mm-hmm.
Infinity War, Thanos. But I like that. Should this character be a one movie bad guy, they're building him up to be uh, a formidable adversary, or at least they're building him up. Period. So I'm interested in seeing that. And I'm interested in seeing where they go with this next episode. So yeah, um, I'm browsing through some of the other Easter eggs that I might have been missing, and there
Mm-hmm.
apparently was like a helicarrier or like the Dark Aster from what is it? Ronin's ship from Guardians of
Okay.
the Galaxy.
Yes.
So all these cute little things that you see, like, oh well, how did this variance not end up in uh, how did this variance end up in this kind of trash dimension or trash world? Oh, there was one I actually really liked.
Mm.
The USS Eldridge. Yeah, I'm looking at it
Oh
now and
yeah.
I forgot about it. The reference to the Philadelphia experiment. Yeah, that was fun. Could you imagine just being a navyman or a seaman on this ship doing an experiment and you fucking get teleported to this dimension and just fucking murked by a giant cloud?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would just ruin my day. Um, oh, apologies. Once Sylvie prunes herself,
Mm.
Ravonna, we find out, has kept what I believe it's B-15. Uh, is keeping B-15 in stasis or some kind of containment field,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do with her. Uh, she seems to be genuinely surprised that the timekeepers are robots themselves as well.
Yeah.
She could be trying to get some kind of answers herself. She could still be trying to preserve the TVA for herself. We don't
True.
know. I'm interested in seeing where we go with that.
Yeah. Same.
So I'm interested in seeing why Sylvie was picked up by the TVA. What exactly? They were being a little coy with that when Ravonna said, "Oh, I don't remember." So I want to know what her variance was, what she had to have done.
Yeah.
But yeah, solid episode. I want to see how they finish this last episode to see if it actually sticks its landing.
Right. I. It's looking good so far. So
Hmm.
we'll see.
Hmm.
Uh, I thought it was cool with the classic Loki. Cause I said it while we were watching it. Um, like he got so powerful at making those illusions because of just being alone for so long.
And
You
not
know,
having any knives
yes. But creating Asgard completely like
from
that
nothing. Yeah.
from nothing. Like I can see him being like wherever he ended up being, like being alone and making Asgard and maybe creating people within it and all this other stuff. Like I can see it happening.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so I thought that was really cool. Really showed, um, you know, how and Loki even says, like we're more powerful than we think.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, classic Loki proved that yes, we are. And yeah, it was a great little moment, right there.
Really
Um,
tugged at your heartstrings. That uh,
yeah.
you know what I noticed? Um, there were a lot of close-ups in this episode that I actually really
Uh-huh.
enjoyed.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed. It doesn't really matter. but if you watch these shows enough, you'll notice that there are very conventional shots, medium distance, mid range. There are very few like just one actor screen encompassing face shots, close ups.
Yeah.
Um, and I enjoyed that. I feel like I only noticed them because they don't really exist
Right.
that often in these shows. They absolutely didn't exist all that much in WandaVision. I can't remember. There might have been one or two bits for Isaiah Bradley in uh, Falcon Winter
Yeah.
Soldier, but I felt that it was particularly unique or unconventional as far as the show
Mhm.
goes, because there's this great moment where I can't remember, a Sylvie is suspecting something or has a desperate moment, and the shot literally holds on her face, and she emotes some pretty good shots there. So I don't know, it just a little bit of camera work that I thought went a long way.
Yeah. Um, Going back with classic Loki, him being like missing his brother and all that, and him trying to go back to see his family. TVA comes in and takes him away.
Just
Um,
fucks him.
yeah, and the same thing with Kid Loki, um, saying like, "Oh, what are you in here for? I killed Thor." Like, holy shit.
Yeah,
Fair
but if you
enough.
think about it, he just probably killed like another 12-year-old version of him.
Yeah, he seems to be bigger.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would imagine that would be an interesting story to see.
Yeah.
Just, pushed him off a cliff or something.
Right. Um. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, I'm just excited for next week.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where they finish this. It
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm
Um.
downsies.
Let's continue on with another Marvel product. Um.
Ooh,
Yep. With Black Widow. Do you want to do
Whack Widow.
Did you want to do a synopsis, or you want to just talk about our feelings?
Let's do a synopsis real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so the beginning starts with a memory, I would suppose. The beginning is set in the mid '90s with Natasha uh, and her family. If you couldn't tell, I put air quotes in there. She's in Chicago or Ohio or wherever, um, and her family, played by Rachel Weisz and David
Mhm.
Harbour, uh, leave Chicago or wherever they are, wherever, some Midwestern
Ohio, I
town,
believe.
city, Ohio. Yeah, yeah. So they leave. They leave under a little bit of gunfire, uh, and then the family's broken up. You realize that the family was a plant. It was playing off of the Russian spies, sleeper agents deposited in neighborhoods, ready to strike at any moment. Um, we then cut almost completely to right after the end of Civil War. Black Widow's on the run. She's being hunted by Thunderbolt Ross.
Mm-hmm.
She gives that fucking nincompoop the slip and briefly stays in Norway, I believe. Uh, at the same time, uh, Natasha's surrogate sister, who is also there in Ohio. What
Yeah.
is her name? Yarina? Yolana? Yolina?
Uh, the actor's name,
No,
or
Florence Pugh is the name of the actress, but I want to
yeah.
know the character's name.
Not Melina. Uh, the the character's name,
Yelena. Yeah, Yelena. Yelena
Yelena,
Belova.
Yelena,
Um,
Yelena.
so she at the same time is part of a new refined minus the independence and free will portion of the Black Widow group. She is hunting a freed, emancipated member of the Black Widow, kills her, but not before a compound is released into her system, nullifying the mind control bullshit that she has in her. She then cuts out her tracking chip in her leg and flees with the rest of the compound that the target, the previous Black Widow agent, begged her to use and to help save the rest of the Black Widows with. The leader finds this out and activates Taskmaster. So Yelena sends the compound to Natasha, thinking that she still has a bit of clout with Stark or just someone who could fix the situation.
Yeah.
And Natasha is attacked by Taskmaster. Taskmaster fucking wipes the floor with her. No, that's not true. But it's so fucking badass to watch Taskmaster go at it, and we'll get into that later. I'm sorry, I'm just excited.
Yep.
Natasha flees. She goes to the safe house where Yelena is staying. They have a scuffle. They're attacked by other Black Widows. And they need to get to the Red Room, the staging ground, the constantly moving headquarters of the Black Widow program that has the leader Dreykov in it. They discussed that Dreykov should have been dead as part of Natasha's defection to S.H.I.E.L.D. with the assistance of Clint, Hawkeye. She killed Dreykov with some kind of explosive charge, killing Dreykov's daughter in the process as collateral damage. So we fast forward a bit. The two of them, Yelena Belova and Natasha Romanov, both free Alexei Shostakov, who is the surrogate father or the how do I want to, the decoy father from Ohio in the mid 90s. He's kind of a discount Captain America, but for the Soviet Union. No, not even the Soviet Union. No, yeah, the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
He is this kind of headstrong idiot in the beginning and is still that when we see him, except a little fatter and a little hairier. They then realize that he doesn't know jack shit and decide to go to the decoy wife mother. Jesus, I don't even know her name. Rachel Weisz, Melina, I think
Melina,
her name was. She, while still a very minor cog within the Black Widow program, is working on refining the mind control substance that we find out was part of the substance used to control Bucky.
Yes.
The event in the 90s that the decoy family fled from was David Harbour's character being sent as a cell or a sleeper cell to get this this compound, which they now use on the Black Widow program. They have some funny hoo-ha moments. They reconcile a bit, and Melina announces to Natasha that she's alerted the Black Widow program of their situation, of their location. Through a couple of decoys and whatnot, it's revealed that Rachel Weisz's character Melina actually is on Natasha's side, has switched uniforms and has face swapped with her using the the shroud technology from Winter Soldier. To get aboard the Red Room, which you find out is so secret and so hidden because it is a giant, like, air base.
Mm-hmm.
So through there, we find out that Dreykov not only survived the instance, but his daughter also survived, and dun 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 is actually Taskmaster. Dreykov takes not Rachel Weisz, realizing that it's actually Natasha, and kind of does his evil, oh, there's nothing you can do, I can win. Natasha, being Natasha, gets control of his command console, you could put it that way, to attempt to disable the Black Widow program. There are a couple fights that ensue. The Black Widows that are on the facility are freed. Let's see. I hope I'm not missing anything. Dreykov is killed by Yelena, and the ending is Taskmaster being taken in by the rehabilitated Black Widows. David Harbour, Rachel Weisz, they're good, they're okay. There's a nice little hug in the end. They all decide to go via helicopter to rehabilitate the other widows and rehabilitate Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Natasha walks off into the sunset with a new Quinjet, which leads into Infinity War, where the outlaw Avengers members have a Quinjet and are using it. I hope I did that a lot of boring service, didn't I?
No, you did great.
Perfect, thank you. I'll try to add more like bobs and weaves in the next time. Like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So I want to pick your brain on that first.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick the shit out of it.
We also talked that night about it. But
Mm-hmm.
I'll just try to remember what I said and talk about it. Basically, I loved it.
Good.
I
Good for
thought
you, kid.
I loved the comedy. The timing was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I think the timing really worked too.
Yeah, and just the actors, the chemistry between them, the whole family bit was fucking great. Fucking
Mm-hmm.
side note, I completely forgot that the dad, surrogate dad, was the
Harbor.
same. Harbor is the same guy from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I was the whole time I was like, man, it looks familiar. I don't know from where, but I know I've seen this person before. But yeah, so I didn't figure that out until later when someone told me. I was like, oh crap, you're right. But yes, his performance was so good. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure people were there to, Marvel and Black Widow and stuff like that. But for me, man, that stole the show for me. Like that,
Uh-huh.
by far my favorite actor in the whole movie. Best performance for me. Uh, yeah, like for a story that again fits what they're doing with the series, where it's like what the ending is, just what's in between. They did a really good job. Like,
Yeah, fitting stuff in. I felt that
yeah,
it fit kind of like the show does, where it's like it's fairly self-contained,
yeah,
but I feel like it has room to grow if it wanted to.
yeah. Like you're including new characters, like Master, uh, um, the sister, right? Uh, and yeah, like you're bringing in some extra characters that are specific to Black Widow's world into the Marvel universe, which is great because you're not, you know, closed to just, like whatever, and then it's like you said, self-contained, which is great because it doesn't really bother any, like, it doesn't mess anything up of what
Yeah.
happened, because again, like what they were saying, like the reason why the Avengers or whatever didn't find him is because they weren't after you. Like, he's not stupid. He's not gonna go
Yeah.
after an Avenger. That
They
doesn't
make
make
a
any sense.
they make a good point, I think, in some of these movies where it's like you have Vulture, who's like this low-level arms dealer in New
Yeah.
York, and it's like he doesn't really bother anyone except for Spider-Man, who is within his radar.
Yeah.
But like, you really think fucking Captain America is going to come to New York to stop one like low fucking level arms dealer? And I
No.
like the idea that they explain away like yeah, why do you think I haven't acted? Like, it's a throwaway line. I would have mic'd a little bit more, but he essentially just checks the box where he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to fuck with the Avengers. Why the fuck would I do that? I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to try to do what I can behind the shadows. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a moment where he almost is able to control Natasha. He's like, now I finally have a
Yeah.
fucking Avenger in their ranks. So yeah, now I can come out of the shadows a bit. But yeah, I'm completely there with you on that.
Yeah. I think they self-contained it very well. Um, and yeah, I think that's it, man. I have my um what is it? Lost my train of thought.
Hey,
That's
trains can be placed back on their tracks, okay?
Yep.
Get
Oh,
back on the horse, pal.
yep. No, hold on. Thank you. Sorry, distracted. Um, so basically, what I was saying is that um, self-contained, great, hilarious. I give it a 8 out of 10. I would watch again.
Good, nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes. How about yourself? Give me your 2 cents about it.
I thought it was a pretty good. I thought it was a pretty solid entry. I.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think, because I wouldn't put it like too high. I mean, I feel like this is a movie that we should have probably gotten sooner, like a lot sooner.
Right.
But I'm trying to think of. I think this is better than Doctor Strange, in my opinion. Like, I think Doctor Strange
Mm.
is an example of, if it was on its own, it would be fine.
Yeah.
Um, but because it's part of the MCU, it makes more than I think it normally should. But it's a
Mm-hmm.
fine movie, and I think this movie's kind of in the same spot.
Yeah.
Let me do a couple things first. I think
Okay.
Scarlett Johansson's fucking great in this, and I
Yeah.
think it's more impressive that Scarlett Johansson is so fucking great in this that Florence fucking Pugh blows it out of the fucking water.
Who's that?
Yelena, the
Okay.
sister.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
half the shit, I was talking to my girlfriend on the ride back, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
half the shit that comes out of her mouth feels ad-libbed, and it works.
Yep.
And she has that catchphrase ha thing that, like, I
Oh
don't
my
know.
god. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Forgot about it.
I think the word that came to mind when I was talking to her was comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
ease, like, just every moment she's on the screen. And I don't get the impression that, like, she's overacting or she's trying to do much, but I get the impression that she's just comfortable
Yeah.
with, like, everything in this movie, and it's so fucking weird to see that. She plays a far more, I would probably say, empty, um, and I don't mean that as an insult. I mean emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who is still hurt, someone who's, you can definitely see she has very reckless tendencies. She has very little regard for her own life. Um, and she's trying to really just grab on to the last couple of things that really matter to her before she dies. I mean, she
Yeah.
doesn't die in it, again, spoiler alert, but there are moments where you can obviously tell where it's like, it doesn't necessarily matter to her as much yet as it does for, you see Natasha in Infinity War
Mm-hmm.
and Endgame. Um, David Harbour's fucking great. I think he gets, I think maybe a little too much funny stuff. But there's some really heartfelt moments there that I really like. I think,
Yes.
contributes the bulk of the humor. If it wasn't for him, this movie would be like 65% like just more serious.
Yep.
And I'm a little disappointed because I thought Rachel Weisz, I love Rachel Weisz. I think she's a
Yeah.
phenomenal actress. I don't think she really got all that much to work with. She plays
No.
the slightly cold but like loving mother, and then when her and Harbour on the screen, they play like the playful like decoy husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like, hopefully, all things aside, I would really like these two to come back, and I would really like to see Rachel Weisz in a more developed capacity, because
Yeah.
I think she's a phenomenal actress, and she's fine with, she does a great job with what she has, but there
Yes.
isn't much to the performance, like the character itself.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I agree.
um, I mean, Ray Winestone is a fine villain. There's really not much to him other than like, I'm evil.
Yeah.
Uh, like, yeah, he is like next to no backstory. They don't even do anything for his like revenge avenue.
Yeah.
William Hurt is in it just to be duped by, like the nincompoop he is.
Yeah.
Uh, Again, spoiler, my apologies. Julia Louis-Dreyfus comes back. She's in the post-credit scene. She plays, God, what's her name?
Yeah.
Valentina de Floren, whatever. Uh, the character who was in Falcon and Winter Soldier, who recruited American Agent.
Yeah.
So, one little bit of the plot still, and I'll get back to my opinions.
Yeah.
The end credit scene is Yelena with a dog, as she wants throughout the entire movie, going to Natasha's grave and paying her respects, and is rudely interrupted by Valentina, or Valentine, whatever, Val, with a new mission to assassinate Hawkeye,
Yep.
which is probably going to lead somewhere into the Hawkeye show with
Mm-hmm.
Kate Bishop, which I'm very interested for. So she's in it. She gives a solid performance as the asshole Nick Fury, even though Nick Fury's already an asshole. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Um, I'm a little disappointed. I'm gonna get into kind of a two-pronged thing here. The actress who plays Taskmaster is an actress that you see a lot of. Olga. Oh God, I can never remember her name. She's in a bunch of stuff. I would have actually probably liked to have seen more of her just
Mm-hmm.
acting. It was a little disappointing seeing someone who I think was playing what amounted to more of like just a face performance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which I thought was kind of strange. The casting aside, I actually liked this version of Taskmaster. I think a lot of people are going to be pissed off.
Yes.
Like a lot of people. The person who actually, not actually, that's not fair. The person in a majority of the comics who plays Taskmaster is a guy called Masters, something Masters, and he's literally just born with the ability to just, he has a photographic memory, so he can just copy anything he wants. And that's fine. That's cool. Like, he trains bad guys and he trains villains, and occasionally he just does mercenary work. I think the idea of it being the bad guy's daughter inadvertently hurt by Natasha adds to the depth of the story. Maybe not the
Mm-hmm.
story, but Natasha's story. I'll get to that in a moment. Brain flatulence. So in the movie, they do this thing where you have God, I can't even. There's so many people I have to remember their names offhand. He's an actor from not the Bridesmaids. Oh my God, The Handmaid. He's the husband of the main character who's in Canada.
Okay.
Um, O.T. Here, let me look it up.
Do it.
O.T. Fagbenel or
Okay.
Fagbenel or whatever. Where he's this like career smuggler character. He smuggles Natasha into the Norway safe house and Yelena into the Budapest
Mm.
safe house. And like immediately after meeting him, we get the scene where Taskmaster attacks Natasha.
Yeah.
And then when Natasha meets up with Yelena and is running from the Black Widows in Budapest, Taskmaster accosts them. And then right after that, we see the smuggler again get them a spot. So I'm going to be honest. I had no fucking clue what they were doing because they were talking about like, oh, we need to find Dreykov. And Natasha's like, but I fucking killed Dreykov. What are you talking about? And they're like, oh, you didn't know he's still alive? I guess you just got the daughter. And then they do a flashback and it's like she sees the daughter and she's like, oh, shoot or blow up anyway, collateral damage, da 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 da. And I'm wondering what the fuck is going on with the daughter because I thought there was a more visibly contrived explanation that it's the smuggler dude because it made more sense right off the bat and there was no evidence there that it was the
Right.
daughter. Like I didn't care. Like I'm getting into why I like this Taskmaster in a moment. I just thought that was really strange. I can't tell if that was supposed to be a red herring or if that was just overlapping of like I don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just thought that was really strange. I like this version of Taskmaster. I have some issues. I think the design is kind of eh. I think maybe a little, as I've been talking about before, overproduced.
Mm.
Um, I like the idea of this character having some kind of like computerized analytical device in them. I don't necessarily care whether or not like the character was born with a photographic memory. All I need to know is that Taskmaster copies people's abilities.
Yeah.
That's fine. In my opinion, and I know I'm gonna fucking eat my words over this one of these days. If you keep the spirit of the character intact, then it doesn't matter. That's my 2 cents. And I think they did. And I think they did it in a way that enhanced the story because not only is Taskmaster a fucking mirror, as in he can replicate other people's fighting styles, he's also, or fucking Christ, I'm so sorry. She, Taskmaster, is also a reflection of the fucking shit that Natasha did to get free.
Yeah.
The horrible shit that she was still doing. And I
Yeah.
think that is more powerful than Ray Winestone just hiring some asshole with a photographic memory.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
I
true.
think it I think the movie would have been more powerful if the character had a little more agency.
Mm-hmm.
The movie the movie makes it clear that Ray Winestone, I'm just going to say his name, Evil Ray Winestone, the actor, the character, not the actor, has
Yes.
been brainwashing his own daughter. Like they repaired
Yeah.
some of her brain. She's a little scarred on the side of her face, and she's conditioned with the same mind control bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a scene where Taskmaster and Natasha in the end are fighting. Natasha gets her helmet off and gets the compound in Taskmaster's system, and she's fine. And I wasn't quite okay with that. Not okay, like, oh, I thought that was problematic. I just felt that it didn't quite work for me.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that it would have been a far more satisfying bit if you paused for a moment, the compound went into her system, she thought everything was okay, but no, this character had agency all along. She was informed at what Natasha did. She's been wanting to get revenge for years, and she's been training out the fucking ass to kill this person. And they gave her some new technology to make her even more badass. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I understand, like, the message that they were going with, that, like, how women are treated, how they're disposable, and yada yada. But they make a point early on, that, like, you know, you were a victim too, da 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 da, and you need to not perpetuate this kind of stuff. But I think Taskmaster would also serve as the other end of that coin. She has an identity that is basically just revenge, and I would have liked that a little bit more. You can fluff that however you want. You could do something with her where she becomes a little more neutral instead of like lawful fucking evil. But yeah, I didn't care for the fact that like she had no autonomy at all, because we're talking about Natasha's nemesis in this movie. Because let's be clear, Ray Winestone, evil Ray Winestone, is not an imposing villain. We see him 4 times, and he has one scene with our hero. And then on top of that, Taskmaster has 3-4 scenes too with Natasha, but no real conflict. It's just fighting. There's not much there, and that's what's a little disappointing, is because there's no villain that challenges who Natasha is. You remember when I was talking about how Taskmaster isn't just a mirror, a literal fighting mirror, but a reflection of what Natasha had to do. That is never talked about. That's never addressed. That's never even really gone through. And I think it's a really great dynamic when Natasha doesn't want to kill this person, but this person wants to kill her. I would have loved to have kept that.
Yep.
And I would have loved to have seen a more active and a more what's the term? Yeah, a more active villain. And you know what? To be fair, I would have liked to have seen a more active Black Widow too. I don't really care much for characters who just react. There's a really great video. I think it's called it's with lessons from the screenplay, and they talk about a passive or reactive protagonist. Essentially, it's like the story unfolds and the character follows versus the character makes the story happen. And they do this by comparing The Force Awakens and Rogue One. And what makes a character like Rey a fairly compelling character in The Force Awakens. She's a fairly she's a fairly active character. Things don't just happen and she reacts to them. She makes things happen. She makes choices. Whereas characters like Jyn Erso from Rogue One are fairly passive. Things happen to her. Things are made to happen, and she reacts. She does them because things. Well, you get the idea. For anyone who's interested, I recommend you take a look at that. But for the most part, a large portion of Black Widow is Natasha reacting to things. I don't necessarily mean like world's funniest home videos. I just mean reacting to the plot. The plot happens, then Natasha just reacts to continue the plot until the next plot thing happens, and not I'm deciding to do this or I'm deciding to do that. Yeah. Let me point out, so I got my bit with Taskmaster out of the way. So I actually really enjoy these fight scenes. And I turned to you and I actually said I might like these way more than Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, yeah.
I
I,
do consider Winter Soldier having some of the best fight scenes, or at
yeah.
least one of the best fight scenes that fucking throws everything else out of the
Hmm.
water.
And I think I was saying that I might have said it after the theater or after the movie. It might have been after we were still in the theater, but it was the credits, right? Where I was saying I think what was nice about this is that when we compare to other films, especially in the Marvel universe or Marvel cinema, most of them have superpowers, right?
Yeah,
They hit heavy, right? They're meant to hit heavy, launch people, break things, blah 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 blah. But
or
in
fly up, do CGI stuff, blow shit up.
exactly where this one, it was literally two people just fighting, like
Oh yeah,
smashing each other through things, and it was really good because there was no CGI. You know, there was no
yeah,
like oh, Captain America punches this dude square in the chest and launches him like 20 feet. Right? It's like
yeah.
it's a normal like person who knows how to fight fighting another normal person who knows how to fight. You know,
Agreed. I think
and
I personally think the weakest fight is still Red Guardian versus Taskmaster because it's you see nothing of it.
yeah, and I think I stated the whole reason for that is because Red Guardian is washed up. He hasn't done
Yeah,
anything because he's been in prison for so long, right?
and he's an
Like,
idiot.
and he's an idiot, right? And and honestly, thinking about it, I think I liked that Red Guardian was washed up. I'm glad he
Yeah,
didn't fight a lot because it really went down to just the Black Widows, right? It's
yeah.
normal humans who are obviously trained assassins, right? The best of the best, just duking it out, and I think that's great because if someone like Red Guardian wasn't washed up, I mean, who's gonna stop him from just messing everyone up, right?
Just
It's
fucking ripping your spine out through your ass.
exactly. So it's like I'm glad he's washed up. I'm glad that the Taskmaster fight was just him getting just launched across the floor and stuff like that. Like
Hmm.
I'm okay with that because it's like again the movie wasn't about you know the Red Guardian, which is
Yeah.
this is the first time me hearing about the Red Guardian, and it's great. I love it. But at the same time, like um the actual fight scenes were as you were putting it, there's more oomph in it, and I think the
Yeah.
reason
Go ahead. Yeah. I'm
I was gonna
primed
say
on this shit. Good.
yeah. The reason, and I was telling you last night or the night before, whatever. I was telling you that night. That I feel the reason why there was more oomph is because when it comes to the normal Marvel fights, they are launching people across the room,
Yeah.
you know, and it like you don't need this right? You can just see it. But in this movie, you had to feel it when, like you're stating, when Natasha like throws her sister like towards the cupboard and then smashes her face into the wall. Like you felt that. You're like, holy shit,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
There's
it's like,
a lot of really satisfying impact. Like
yeah,
I mentioned you like I felt the I thought the directing was pretty good, but I thought the editing was I think a little too choppy.
yeah,
Um it doesn't you're not really allowed, you're not given enough time to really enjoy some of the choreography, but when you see it, holy shit, like people are
mhm,
getting thrown into walls, people are
yeah,
getting fucking swept up and fucking beaten the shit out of. And
hmm,
I'm the choreography is so well done.
yeah,
And if I may, just off
hmm,
topic for one moment,
yep,
there's a part I really like. I mean, it's part of the generic like cliche saved bit, but in
hmm,
the end, the last really big fight scene is between Natasha and the rest of the brainwashed Black Widows,
hmm, yes,
which is one of the fights we're talking about. But there's a bit where she's literally getting her ass handed to her. Like they have
yeah.
her in a chokehold, and they're all just like 11 of them at a time are kind of just taking turns, just like pot shotting her square in the abdomen. And I thought this was going to be a moment, I shit you not, where Natasha was going to be like, "Remember who you are," and they'll just snap out of it. So I really appreciate that it was just kind of the generic "I saved you" bit,
Mm-hmm.
where Yelena just kind of comes in, destroys the or cracks open the compounds in front of them, and just kind of renders them inert or whatever. Because I felt that entire third act was going to be predicated on like fight it,
Yeah.
right? And I appreciate that that wasn't the case. I appreciate that it was more like, let's use the whole teamwork to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and we'll just let Natasha be the badass. There's this really fucking great bit. Like, talk about so out of fucking pocket. You find out that evil Ray Winestone has like some evil cologne, which jokes aside, he has like changed his pheromones or his scent to like prevent Black Widows from attacking him. And you find out that you have to sever the nerve to nullify that, right? And she has been allowing the bad guy to do his monologue and to show how to access the terminal, to access all the Black Widows and yada yada. And she's like, ah, fuck. And she just like the guy is sitting there, he's like, so what are you gonna do about it in Russian? And she's like, well, I'll fucking we'll see. And she just fucking slams her face into the desk, breaking her nose, and just beats the shit out of him.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
so
good one.
fucking good. So like, sure, yeah, that's the badass part that I thought was way out of pocket, but it's way better than some of the sentimental stuff that I think they have been trying to hammer home with a lot of their movies.
Yep.
But yeah, good movie. I'm excited to see the next couple of movies coming out. And again, what if? I'll try scouring the interwebs for a couple different movies and see if we can chat about them too.
Okay.
Get some variety in there.
Yeah. I'm sure we can get some more video game news soon. We did
Oh yeah.
start Divinity. What is your first thoughts on the game?
I'd enjoy it a lot fucking more if you didn't just run around with your fucking dick in your hand while I was trying to understand what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, it's my fault.
Fuck you. No, no, no. It's fun. I want to get a little more into it. For anyone who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know, Divinity is essentially a video game of D&D. So I'm interested in seeing where it goes. It has a set story. You, of course, it's role play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing essentially a Naga mage,
Mm-hmm.
and then Harry, wanting to rub it in my face, is a thief.
I'm
And
a undead elf ranger.
yeah, fuck you. You're lock picking. Go
Yep.
eat my ass.
It's true.
Anytime there's lock picking, it's thieving. Fucking ranger. You eat.
Okay.
You
All right.
fucking.
Strategy.
You
Look.
eat herbs.
Look. Strategy wise.
Mm.
If you're an undead, because you have pointy fingers, because you're a skeleton, you get
Don't
to
fucking
pick
do this.
locks.
Jesus.
You get to pick locks without having like a lock pick.
You're gonna crawl all the way up my ass and give me this, huh? Yeah.
It's true strategy wise. This is the
Fuck
fact.
you.
But look at the upside. I really messed up because I picked up a perk that only works if there's 2 or less people in your party. Guess what? There's 3 of us, so I just wasted a fucking perk slot. It was great. I was like, dude, why isn't this working? And Aved didn't say anything.
Yeah, because he wants you to
he's
fucking
like-
suffer
He's like,
for your
well,
transgressions.
he's like, wait, Harry, did you take that perk? I'm like, yeah, I did. And he's just like, well, I'm gonna go get a drink. And then he like didn't say anything. I'm like, what? And I started reading what the perk says, and I was like, oh shit, that makes sense.
Oh, got you good, you fucker.
Yeah, got me, good fucker. I was like, all right, well, shit.
I mean, I'm sure you could start a new character, right?
So
And just
there is,
stop right then and there.
there's a point later on in the game, once you get past this first part, you can respec your entire character. So it's not
Okay.
so like in this beginning part, I'm gonna be a little behind you guys, but the upside is I can fix it, so I can once we get to the harder parts, I'll be right there behind you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, it won't be entirely a loss.
Yes.
Yay.
We'll just have a Vedcarious as usual.
Yeah, seriously.
um, but
We're the
yeah.
old ball and chain, right, fella?
Oh. We will definitely be playing that. And I'll be streaming it Tuesdays
Oh.
and Fridays. So
Oh.
yeah. Um, on my own personal channel, but I will be streaming it. I will be uploading the full thing to this channel, right?
I
This
feel like
YouTube
I'm
channel.
just so unfunny in these things. You just get all my bad sides.
Mm,
You should be ashamed of yourself.
sorry. There's some
It's
funny
okay.
stuff in there, man. There's some funny stuff in there.
Yeah. It's just me getting my fucking ass whooped in a discussion. It's not about ass whooping.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking. All right. Well, anyway, folks.
You have
Have
anything
anything else,
else?
bud?
I
Hey, that was
don't.
my fucking line. No, other than that, I'll keep an eye out for some stuff that we can try doing a little variety on. I don't necessarily want this to be like the Disney Marvel like podcast. I know
Mm-hmm.
that like
It's just what
it's
it's happening now.
it's the pop culture that is like the easily consumable stuff that's coming out every fucking week.
Yep.
And it's like movie bros are just like, hey, yeah, you want to talk about this? Sure, why the fuck not? So, you know what? You can fucking live with it, okay?
Yeah.
Tom Hiddleston's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking David Harbour's a chubby daddy. So, you know
Yeah.
what? Fuck you guys. Anywho, you know what, Harry? I could see you as a Red Guardian. You'd be a cute Red Guardian. Get that beard growing out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It still fits. Yeah.
Dude,
All right,
so good.
folks. I'll do the outro.
Oh, always.
Fucking okay, whatever. All right, folks. If you'd like to watch any of our previous videos or any of our videos now, hit us up on YouTube. That is Hitting the Mark with Harry and Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, not wrong.
Correct.
If you'd like to email us with any questions, ask for anything that you like us to do, anything you like us to not do, tell us how bad we are, you could hit us up at hittingthemark2020@gmail.com. We also have a Twitter. You can twat us if you want at capital H, capital T, capital M _ podcast. Again, HTM _ podcast. Thank you very much, folks. It was a pleasure. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Auf Wiedersehen, asshores.